Hello, and welcome to Rising Coaches with Sofia Bernardi. Now, today I am so excited because I am interviewing my dear friend Tamara Meyer. Now, Tamara is a business coach, she is a speaker, she is a brand strategist, and she is also the biggest ball of energy and authenticity you will ever meet. Every time I speak with Tamara, my whole vibe lifts because that is the energy that she brings to the room when you are in her presence. Now, she is amazing when it comes to branding and confidence and being yourself and showing up as your unique self. And I had the honor once of delivering a training inside of her program, and I witnessed firsthand the community she's built and the brand that she's built, and we discussed that in the episode. So I'm really excited for you to take a listen to this episode. So in this episode, we spoke about the identity changes that are required to grow and scale in the online space, how to create a personal brand with your authentic self using a Taylor Swift strategy, how to own your zone of genius to show up with more ease online, and personal struggles she's had to navigate while scaling her business. Like, this is one of my favorite things about Tamara, is that she's just so honest and raw and real. And I think social media needs a dose of that every now and again, doesn't it? So dive on into this episode. I know you're going to absolutely love it. Make sure you follow her on all of the things. We'll link everything below, and dive on in. Hey, Tamara, welcome to Rising Coaches with Sofia Bernardi.
Oh, hello, beautiful human. It is such an honor to be here, and thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm so excited about this. I was just on your podcast and now we've just chatted off mic for a bit, which has been so fun. So now I'm really excited to uh, turn the table, I suppose, and me dive super deep into you and your journey.
Oh, and I just want to say massive thank you. I feel like so many people, when we're in the same space, like there is this like element of like, can we talk about things? Can we share things? And I just want to start off with like being so open and vulnerable. Like my story began like I'm not even from Australia. I was born in Germany. I've got this beautiful Brazilian mom, which I share a lot because she's brought me to where I am today because of her.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, like our life was quite traumatic, quite dysfunctional. My dad was in the military, but he had a really strong gambling addiction to the point where we lost everything. So my story begins at 12 when we tried to get into our home and we couldn't even give in because my dad gambled everything. And I know that story, really resonates with you.
Yes.
And I share that because I think it was my first pinnacle moment, and why I share that story, because I think it was the first taste I had of perseverance and entrepreneurship, whether I knew it then at 12 or not. And, fast forward to me being a business coach, a speaker and podcaster, I've shared that I've had identity changes, career changes. And I think what's really been really called for me to do now is being who I am. And I think over the years, I've been a professional dancer, actor, professional fitness coach. And it's only been the last 2 years I've honed in on my authentic messaging and story, and why I help, business owners help build their empire. And so that is me, babe. That's what I want to help people with.
I love that. That's so good. And so, did you become a business coach as a result of like your previous ventures, like fitness coaching and all those sorts of things, like learning how to do that? And then you realized you had a skill set, or what actually led you to business coaching specifically? Like, where did you get those skills and that desire from?
It's such a good question because I was, I built a really good business as a fitness coach. I had an app. I wanted to be a pro. I became a pro, and I felt that, reflecting on how I became a business coach, well, we went through COVID. I was single. I moved into a studio apartment with my cats, and I kind of like had this opportunity to continue the fitness journey and building an app. And mind you, for those who have done bodybuilding shows, trying to compete or prep during COVID was fucking hard. And I sort of had that moment of like, I could start learning and studying. So I stepped into, life coaching, and it actually brought so many memories for me because my mum used to play like tape cassettes of Tony Robbins in the car. And that's why I speak
Wow.
about my mom, because I felt that my purpose was fitness. And when I started life coaching, understanding my business values of who I am and being authentic, I realized, everything that I was doing online as a fitness coach wasn't who I actually was. And so it became a decision that a mentor at the time helped me with, which was basically, you know, realizing when I had my personal business values done that fitness was a personal value, but not a business. And it just made me go, wow. And that was the change. And it was scary, babe, because, I had this identity of just being a fitness coach, or not just, but being in the fitness space. And it was like, I'm now stepping into a new identity. And that was fucking scary. So that's how it happened.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. And I think you just said something really important there, and that's about identity changes. So I'd love to hear more about that, because something I hear in particular from new coaches is this identity of going from not a business owner to a coach that's helping people with something. And so many mindset blocks and things come up of like, what if I lose my friends? What if I lose this? What if I lose that? What if someone judges me? Like, and you almost have to step into this new identity of someone that can hold that and overcome that and move through that. And I would be really curious to hear like what comes up for you around shifting your identity as someone that can hold more wealth, more abundance, more success in your life.
I think the thing that comes to me was I was faking it till I made it. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
I learned the identity was all about owning who you are and becoming it. And I think over time, hence why the podcast we did was about evolving. As we evolve, I think our identity evolves, or we just become really good at recognizing who we are. And I think one big thing I always talk about is that self-acceptance piece around owning your authentic self and that identity of who you are. And sometimes when we realize we remove these walls and we go from ego to heart center, that fuck, maybe we've been living an identity that wasn't true to us. And so when I continuously feel like I'm shifting identities, I think it's just that question. And you said this before too, is like, is this who I am? And am I owning my higher self? And how to navigate identity shifts, it's crazy, because I think the first step is just that awareness piece, but it's what you do after it to shift and change. And I think it's being comfortable to be uncomfortable, to be comfortable to change and know that we have to evolve. Like it's something that's part of our life. So I think for anyone listening, if you are becoming an aspiring coach or business owner, I think it's just really knowing who you are and owning it. And if people judge, it's also then our service to also work on ourselves, that if they're judging or if we think we're judging them, it's really just us judging ourselves. So it's all about doing the inner work, which we spoke about before, right?
Yeah, 100%. And thank you for sharing that, because I think it's so important that we own who we are, and we also own our desires and can lean into them rather than holding back due to fear. And I think we have to evolve our identity to be able to hold that. So thanks for sharing that, because it is scary to like lean into things or people or situations that, that we really want to create, but it's through that vulnerability and also that identity of like deserving that and owning the desire of it that we're going to be able to create it, right?
And the way that you said vulnerability too, I think when I first shifted identity, I announced that I was doing this new direction. So if you guys are like wondering, how do you just become authentic? I actually just went online one day and went, hey, I'm doing this new thing. I'm really fucking scared, but I'd love for you to be on a journey with me. And I think it's that acceptance piece, humanizing the journey and showing people that you are vulnerable in that space. And I think that's a really great starting point. And what I love about what you do and what we get to do together is just, bringing people to their best versions with their businesses. So really, really grateful you shared that, my love.
I love that. Okay, so that's really beautiful to know like what that journey has really looked like. Now you're a business coach and you're helping other coaches to grow and scale their business, which is awesome. I would love for you to chat about what you really help people with and how you do that.
Love this question. And it's something I'm going to be talking a lot more at my event, which I'd love for you guys to share and join. But I think when I owned that first piece of like, all right, being authentic, I have realized a lot of people who start businesses, they don't know how to build a business in the online space, and they don't know social media marketing. So our first piece to what we teach is social media presence with your authentic self and strategies around that. And I think a lot of people don't know frameworks on how to show up online and how to be consistent. And you and I do this all the time. Part of what you do online is about building rapport, is about speaking to your consumers and prospects and future clients. So part of what we first teach is that we call it Taylor Swift strategy, which is building your authentic self and strategizing on social media.
Mhm.
And then out of that, I love selling. I love, 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 love selling. And kind of like what you spoke to me about before, I found when I used to sell, it felt really icky, manipulative, it felt hard. And so
Mm,
based on, showing up authentically, we found this beautiful element when it comes to selling through storytelling, which is direct selling, relationship marketing, and also using your story to create trust and
yes.
build your clientels with selling. And then as well as that, we then help people scale with their personal brand. And I think that's what you and I spoke about before. When we become a point of difference, it's not allowing our followers to define who we are, but it's our story. And so we help our clients to build that personal brand to scale, like Beyonce, and being that cult-like fan base. And that's honestly been finally, and I say this because I've only been a business coach for 2 years. I feel like I've only just nailed my messaging. So I hope that
Mm,
allows you guys to feel a little bit more at ease, that we are constantly evolving even the messaging and tweaking it. So I love that you asked that,
100%.
babe.
Yeah,
Literally.
I think messaging is this never ending and always evolving thing, right? It's like because as we evolve, so does our ideal clients as well. And as circumstances in the industry changes as well, like that can or people can allow that to affect them, which means their problems change as well. Like I know even right now, like there's a lot of talk about the economy shifting so much and all of these things, or when we've had a pandemic, those things don't have to affect business at all, but for many, they allow it to affect them, and therefore it becomes a topic of conversation, and new problems arise as a result of that. And so, your messaging is going to then change under those circumstances as well. So I think it's always evolving. Hey.
100%. And I think it's not being, someone asked me this question, which I think is really cool. It's like, what's the difference between an entrepreneur and a business owner? And I feel like we get to take calculated risks and be more open to what's going on, as opposed to being so like reserved and like, blah. And essentially what we teach now is like being able to create our reality, but also strategically, if you know what I mean. So yes, exactly what you said, my love. We are evolving as human beings, as business owners, and our messaging and clientels get to as well. So I love that.
I love that. What are some things you've had to evolve or shift in the last few months or this year in general, if there's an overall theme?
uh, this is good. I think for me it was really getting at, owning my zone of genius. And for a while there, I had no idea that I could speak on stage. And again, like I learned English when I was 8 years old. German was my first language, Portuguese was my second. And I never thought that being able to speak on stage was my zone of genius. So that has been something this year and the last couple of months I've really gone in to really owning that. And a lot of people are like, how do you speak, or why do you do it? It seems so hard. But I think if everyone was doing it, we'd all be doing it. And I think, just to come back to your podcast, and anyone listening, your zone of genius really is so important to know. And sometimes you think you know what your zone of genius is, but then until you start to step in who you are, then those ideas and concepts and what you're really good at gets to be your way of selling. And so that's been my biggest thing, like owning who I am and stepping into that version of myself, as opposed to just being like every business coach that teaches broader things. It's like, okay, I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm not good at. So I'm going to fucking delegate and hire people that are better at the stuff that I don't like. Right. So I think that's been the last couple of months. And if I'm really vulnerable right now, it's working on my relationship with my partner and I. We started working together, and I shared this with you before. It's been a fucking hard year,
Mm.
because we started working together, because we're both so in love, but we're also both working on our own stuff. So that's been probably the biggest thing for us to navigate through.
Wow, thank you for opening up on all of that. Like that's, not something you needed to do, and yet you did so anyways. And I think what's really special about that is that it's kind of normalizes because, I know that you make an amazing amount of money. We're in a pretty similar journey, and like it's really cool that both get to coexist. Like, it's not like once you start earning 30, 40, 50K months, like all problems disappear. Like, actually, no, like we're still very real human beings and things are going to happen in our personal and professional lives all of the time. And you can still make a lot of money at the same time. And I think you're really a lot of evidence of that, that like, just because you're making all this money doesn't mean like other things don't also shift and change as well.
Yes.
So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that.
You'll soon learn, guys. I share a lot, but I do that because I want it to feel safe for you guys to do the same, you know? And as I said, like being authentic is showing the parts that you feel people may not love. And I've had to learn that so often and keep reminding myself on that. So always, babe, always an open book for you guys. So thank
Yeah.
you.
And it's so important, especially like kind of going back to our original conversation on identity. I hear new coaches all the time thinking that they need to be perfect and everything has to be set up and done before they can move forwards. And, what you've just shared is like evidence that, like, you can move forwards no matter what. Like, you've just shared those things. But I also know what you've done this year is like you've also moved into state, which is another big thing, just like energetically as well, just like your whole environment shifting. Like that was me, a year and a half ago. And whilst it was a seamless transition and a beautiful transition, like it doesn't mean that it also wasn't like, whoa, there's a lot going on, lots of changes, that can still happen at the same time, right?
Oh, and you know what? I'm very jealous that yours was very seamless. But I feel, again, I love sharing this because so much of what we do as business owners, we forget that people want to see that. And so we moved interstate at a time that was really hard for us in our relationship and in business because there was so much going on. But I think what was really great about that journey was showing our clients and people around us that you can do things without having to plan and execute the perfect move or the perfect offer. And I think everything gets to be a growing opportunity for us to just create tweaks and changes, you know. I think I've become really good at accepting failure as like one of my best friends.
Mm.
And what I love teaching is the mistakes I made and why I do what I do now, because I think either there's a lot of shit gurus out there teaching the wrong things, and two, so many people, if we all just focus on impact, we can all succeed, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, like we've had a year of building events, retreats, moving, working on a relationship, and now like really getting big on starting 2025. So
Mm, I love
it's
that,
very
which is crazy to say how much time is flying.
uh,
Let's talk about that a little bit because you've just shared all of these changes that you've made, like, but I know you because obviously we're friends. Like, you've been launching, you've been showing up daily, you've been leaning, you've been selling. Talk to me about taking action even in disruptive or imperfect situations or times or seasons, or even like imperfect days, like when you're feeling dysregulated or anxious or whatever, you still show up. So like, talk to me about that mindset and how you do that.
it's honestly my message, babe, because I have this strong belief that we all have to show up consistently no matter what's going on. And that
Mm.
doesn't mean you have to be perfect at 110%, but every day gets to be an opportunity for us to be consistent and progress, right? And if I'm having a horrible day or if I'm, feeling a certain way, it is in my duty as a service to my consumers, being a leader, to show up, because at the end of the day, I've seen what happens when you go through homelessness. And my biggest thing is like, because of my mum always showing us like what could be possible for us, like we've experienced such hardships that we show up because we know we're meant for more. And sometimes people, I'm going to be honest, are too lazy and make excuses. So I have this big, strong belief that you can be committed until things are not well. And
Mm.
that's when you test your show up capability. And that's where you start to have the biggest breakthroughs, is at your breakdown.
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of the people that work with me, I'm quite direct in saying, like, are you actually, doing the work, or are
Mm.
you self-sabotaging yourself? So
Mm.
I don't know if that resonates with you,
It
around show.
absolutely does, like 100%. Like it kind of feels like we're the mean guys that like are being so direct there, but like it's honestly just like the hard truths of like, if you really want something, I know you will find a way. And I say it with so much love. Like so many people insert all sorts of excuses. They're tired, they blame their children, they blame their work, they blame, their partner, they will blame the economy, they will blame their job, like they will blame so many things other than just like owning what the situation is and deciding things that are in their control that's going to move the needle forward. Like if you're too busy blaming your coach or the bill that just came in or like the circumstances external to you that you can't control, like you will never create the life that you want. And I think what you said is so true. It's like anyone can show up when everything's going according to plan and perfectly, but how do you show up when it's not? Because that's going to happen regardless of who you are. And it's in those times that it matters the absolute most, because it's during challenging times such as global pandemics or, economy shifts that a lot of people give up, stop, pause, slow down. And it's actually your opportunity to rise, because so many people like freak out under those circumstances when really like you're meant to lean in there, right?
Fuck, we need to make a bumper sticker, babe. That really, really, like, I got goosebumps. And I just want to say thank you. As I said, like, we've had conversations outside of the podcast, and I really value these types of things because I think it's just a reminder, right? And this is
Mm.
why we do the podcast. This is why we bring forward our truths, our messaging, because at the end of the day, we're all made for more. Like, we all have the same hours and days as everyone else. And I'm not saying I'm taking away from people who have kids or other
Mm.
things, but your show up consistently will be different to everyone else. It's just like, what can you do today that will allow you to move the needle and be momentum and still be showing up for your fucking clients, right?
Yeah, literally, and the bigger impact that you want to make. And something I always tell my clients, I don't know if this lands for you, is like, let's say you're going through a challenging day or week or season right now. I always remind myself, like, if I can't handle this, I cannot handle more. And like for me, that's like always just such a mic drop moment for myself, because it's like every time I'm presented with a challenge, I have the opportunity to play the victim, complain, be upset, let it absolutely destroy me. Or I can and it's still important to feel your feelings and process it, right? This is not about suppressing in any way, but it's important to remind ourselves, like, if we want more abundance, more wealth, more success, more whatever it is, we have to be able to like handle what we have in front of us right now. And so I always tell myself as this little pep talk, like if I can overcome insert challenge right now, then I can literally hold more. And so I always use it as an opportunity, like to up level.
Mm. And you know what, babe? I love that way you reframe the question. It's like, if I can't handle this, then I want, let's say, $1 million business, and these things are coming
But
to you.
you
And we're
can't
like,
handle like one payment
yeah.
failure or one like client disappearing, or like you can't handle like one day, like bad day, then like fuck, how are you gonna hold $1 million?
Yeah. And the fucking annoying thing is, guys, and I say this with absolute love, when you step into personal development, you just can't unsee what you've learned. So you're seeing it, you're like, fuck, I know this is like
Yeah.
what's coming to me, not wait, it's coming for me, not to me. So,
Yeah.
babe, I hear you. Yeah, I think if anyone wants to really hone in on like that show up, just ask the question as Sophia said, like, what am I not doing and why? What do I need to do more in order for me to do X or have the results that I want, right? So I love
Yeah.
that.
100%. I'd love to hear, like, is there anything you feel like we haven't yet talked about or you haven't yet shared that you would like to during this time that would help other coaches and service-based businesses listening?
Yeah, I think what's really coming to me right now is if you're starting a business, whether you're working with Sophia or other people, and you've got your program, you've got your signature method, you've got your offer, you've got everything. I just want you guys to really prioritize your personal brand and you as well. Branding is consistency, and the beautiful Sophia hasn't probably shared. She's not wearing any pants today, but that's her brand. She's owning who you are. So I
Yeah.
think really big thing that I want people to do is like, don't stress about the logo or website yet,
Hmm.
but have it be a point of difference and own your quirkiness, and I share my weirdness because I want people to see that it's okay to be different and weird. I think more people need to be themselves. But if you were to look at like what your unique attributes are, what your personal brand could be, from like the voice, the personality, start to look at that and start doing it as opposed to figuring out what it is. I think imperfect actions and your messy life is your selling point. That's a big thing that we really, really tell our clients when they work with us. So
Yeah,
yeah.
100%. And, just for context for everyone else, like two things. Firstly, I'm not wearing pants because who wears pants when they're at home? Like, no, no, no. Second of all, and it's also so hot in Queensland today. Like, I'm sweating bullets sitting here. I don't know if you're feeling the same today, but that's my reality right now.
Well, you look very sexy, babe. So if you're hot and sweaty, it's just because you're so hot.
The
So.
second thing I was going to say is I have actually like done a workshop inside Tamara's beautiful program or mastermind, and it was so much fun. But I want to say firsthand, I experienced her personal brand as a result of being in that space for that hour. Like everyone was on the same wavelength in terms of like the chat that was going on Zoom when I was delivering that service. And you donate money every time they put certain comments. Like tell us about that, because for me, when I reflect on that, I was one, blown away, and two, I was like, this is your personal brand that, and you've attracted these ideal clients that love that and now embody that as well. So like, tell us a little bit about that quickly.
Thank you for those beautiful words, my love. Oh my God. And you know what? I'm going to reverse engineer how it all came about, right? And thank you. So when I thought about me as a brand, and like one of the biggest things I used to hear when I was a little girl, and you probably can pick up, I've probably got undiagnosed ADHD, was I'm a lot. I'm very hyperactive. My mom used to be like, put me into dancing school because I was so erratic and hyperactive, but I just was such a big energy. And over the years, we talked about identity and how I used to be really in the fitness space. I think I dimmed my light for a really long time because I wanted to look a certain way, feel accepted and validated. And so when I stepped out of that world and stepped into business, and again, still copied business coaches because I wasn't aware that I could just own myself. I'd come on
Mm,
podcast, I'd wear a suit. But how it all started around the personal branding, we are very big on the hashtag big dick energy. And I say that because, like, yes, I coach females, more majority of them. We've got male clients, but it was more of a reminder that we've been told to tone it down and play small. And so why we donate money and use the eggplant as a way for us to raise money is because that's big dick energy, and building a business gets to be fun. And so I
mm.
found it, like, one, amusing, two, it attracted my ideal clients because not everyone likes it. And I know that because people are like, why do you always do that? And it's like,
Yeah, some
well,
people are a lot more conservative, which is okay, but then you don't want to work with those people if that's not your vibe, right?
and so what we want to encourage the listeners is just, what are the stories that you've been through that have shaped you for who you are? And maybe the things that people have said to you that you can use as a personal brand to own who you are, right?
I
So
love that. I
yeah,
love that because I know of people that unfortunately feel or fear that they are too much and that they try and suppress themselves or play small. And so the fact that you actually took what could have very much been, taken as a like something that you needed to work on or a problem, you've actually like owned it and like made it even bigger and bolder. And now you're impacting lives as a result of that. So just for context for everyone else, like I was delivering this workshop for Tamara's mastermind, and then all of a sudden, like everyone's just dropping this eggplant emoji in the chat, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, have I said something, or like, what's with this emoji all of the time? And eventually, I'm pretty sure that's what they were commenting, right? Or were they commenting a word? I was like, am I missing something? And then people said, oh, it's BDE. And I'm like, still don't know what that is. Sorry. Like, can someone like, explain it? And then when you typed it out, I'm like, that is so freaking funny. And the whole vibe of the whole group just like enhanced even more. And basically every time anyone resonated with something I had said in that workshop, people would comment that emoji, and then Tamara and her beautiful partner like then donate on behalf of it. And I think I was blown away. I'm like, I do not see that happen very often, and I loved how many emojis came in the chat, put it that way.
and it took again, like, I love sharing my lessons and mistakes. It took me realizing that I was building a business about me for a really long time. And I think that's where I was in ego, and where I was attracting not very good clients and would have really good months and not. And then it was until I realized I had to choose to really focus on impact overall. And I found a really great organization that really felt true to my core around helping, kids who don't have money, kids who are homeless in Vietnam. And one eggplant, because we wanted to make it fun, you know, in any call we do is a donation of a day of education. And again, like I'm working on really honing in on, not making it about me, because as I said, I'm not perfect. And I've had moments where I'm like, Tamara, you're an ego, you're making it about yourself. But because you brought in so much knowledge, that was why there were so many eggplants, because
Mhm.
you delivered, babe. So yeah, it was quite funny. You were like, what's going on? And then I said, whale come. You're like, wow, this group's really sexual. And it's like, well, business gets to be fun too. And I
Yeah.
think well, it brings out our clients in such a way where they feel safe to be a bit silly and weird. And
Yeah.
so
I
yeah,
love
I
it.
think,
I absolutely loved it. I left that workshop feeling like on a high of like that was literally amazing energy, and it was just like this collective thing. It was the space you held, it was the training I delivered, but then it was the people that participated and played full out. And I think like you supported people to make it easy to play full out because they know that they're doing something good or contributing to that as a result of playing full out. So I think it's this like beautiful circulation of things. So thank you so much. Like, can you please share with us like where people can find you, learn more about you, your upcoming event, how they can work with you, all the things?
oh, thank you, babe. And so my Instagram is Tamara Meyer Coaching. And the beautiful Sofia is coming to my Gold Coast event. It's called Show Up, Sell and Scale. I'm doing one in Gold Coast. I'm actually quite nervous, the first Gold Coast one.
You got
And I'm
this.
doing Thank you, babe. I really appreciate that. And I'm doing one in Sydney too. So you can either come to our event, we've got buy one, get one free tickets, or if you guys want to work with me, we've got a beautiful membership that we have a really, really cool community as well. So hit me up there. And last but not least, my podcast too, Keys to the Queendom, which Sophia's just been on too. So lots of big dick energy. Hey, baby girl.
Yes. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful for this time.
Grateful for you, baby girl. Thank you so much for having me.
If you thoroughly enjoyed this episode, I greatly appreciate it if you could take a moment to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an episode. Your support fuels our mission to bring you even more valuable content each week. It truly means the world to me. My promise to you is that if you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, then I'll continue making incredible episodes every week that help you to grow and scale your coaching business. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next episode.